What's up, guys? Welcome to week number 37 and 38 of my 2018 training. Apologize for getting behind on these, but I've been kind of deep into the throes of prep for deadlifts for Dornbecker. We've got a huge guest list this year. I think we're looking at something like 25 guest lifters as opposed to the, I want to say 14 from last year. So a lot more guests coming in this year, a lot bigger goal. We're trying to hit $50,000 this year as opposed to our goal last year, which was 25, and we ended up finishing with 31, so we smashed that. So between that and then just traveling for comps, I was in California for Boss of Bosses, and then I was in, where did we go after that? I think the very next weekend we were down in Springfield for another meet, so just a lot of travel. I've definitely been training through this whole time. Things have gone pretty well. Had a couple of low points, a couple of high points, one of which being this 585 pull, beltless pull off of a 3-inch block. And then ended up hitting 700 for 5 on the trap bar, which you'll see in a minute. And so I had a couple of decent lifts in there, a couple of off days as well, but overall training has still been going fairly well, and I've been staying mostly pain and dysfunction free over the last couple of weeks. I've just been behind on actually getting these training logs out. So now I'm at the point where my camera can't hold any more footage, so it is enough of a kick in the ass to try and get one of these churned out. And I still have, I think, one more before I'm caught up. So hopefully I can get these all up to speed over the next couple of days here, so that way it's just one less thing to stay accountable towards. So this is the max effort lower workout from probably 2 weeks back. Decided to do some work in the suit just to kind of mix it up and do a little bit of free squatting. That didn't end up going so well, although the warm-up sets here looked pretty good. In balance, my hips just were not having the squatting. I'm still having some kind of issue with just a free squat. So for some reason, whatever little bit of cheating I can do on a box squat lets me squat pain and dysfunction free, and as soon as I get into a free squat, and this is happening both raw and equipped, some of those issues with the hips are still there. So still got some work to do. These are still mostly centered, but you can see just coming out of the hole, I'm not firing evenly between the hips, and that's kind of what's causing that stanky leg there. So on this day, I want to say I took these up to 470 for a single, and then came back and did a triple with 420. We ended up switching to the box after just kind of enough frustrating sets here. So squatting didn't go that well, but was able to redeem myself on the trap bar pulls, which went great. Ended up low repping the warm-ups on these. Took a final warm-up at I want to say like a 650 maybe, and then took it straight to 700 and was able to hit 5 pretty clean reps. I feel like there was either 2 to 3 reps in the tank that I could have also still gotten, or that I could have probably hit a set of 3 to 5 with 750. And I think that I probably could pull about 800 on the trap bar right now, just with how those are working. So what I'll probably be doing is tabling the trap bar for a little bit. I'm going to be working on about somewhere around a 3 or 4 inch block pull, since that is a variation that I'm not as strong at, and that tends to be a really good builder exercise for me. So what you'll be seeing in the coming weeks is on the squat focused days, my rep work will be done with block pulls, at least for the next month, and then on the deadlift focus day, I'll probably do some kind of a front loaded squat. So whether that's a front squat or a goblet squat, just something that puts the weight in front of my center of balance and causes a little bit more activation in through my core. So here's that top set of 5 with 700. As you can see, all these reps moved fairly well, and it didn't look like I was anywhere close to missing or having the weight slow down significantly. So we'll have to probably take that as a max effort sometime before the end of the year and see if I've got something in that 750 to 800 pound range in me, because I'm pretty sure that that's there. I'm pretty confident in that. So that's cool. Here are some of the corrective exercises that I've been doing on the upper half. This is basically an internal rotation on the left arm and then a serratus activation on the right arm, synchronized with the breath cycle. So I'm internally rotating on the left side as I inhale, and then on the exhale I'm controlling the eccentric while then pressing through with that right arm, and doing that for sets of 5 breaths. So emphasis being on the exhalation portion of it. Definitely a weird movement, but it's helping. That in conjunction with some of the other PRI correctives that I've been doing from Min have actually made my pressing feel pretty decent. So on this speed day here was the last week of the 3-week wave of the axle floor press. This is 205 done for 10 sets of 3. In between those I sprinkled in those PRI correctives, and that seemed to work pretty well. On this day, ended up hitting some low cable rows. I found a different attachment strap that I had just apparently had sitting in the back of the gym that lets the arms articulate independently, so I can actually add a little bit of internal and external rotation as I'm rowing. So I've really been liking that handle for the cable rows, and what I did is I superset that with these kettlebell skull crushers for 8 sets of 8, with very little to no rest between the 2 exercises. And then followed that with a giant set on behind the neck tricep extensions with a dumbbell, and then face pulls on that new strappy handle, and then just a hammer curl. I am going to start bringing in some direct bicep work. I'm going to keep it at about 1/3 the volume of my tricep work, and see if I can start bringing in a little bit more direct arm training, so long as I keep the ratios in favor of triceps, so I don't start overly internally rotating the shoulders again. So we will see. Hopefully that doesn't cause any issues, but it's felt pretty good the last 2 weeks that I've been doing it. So that's about it on the dynamic upper day. I am trying to try and do a little bit better job of filming some of the accessory work that I do, because on the dynamic days is when I tend to get a little bit more creative or with the accessories, or I do more of them. So you'll see some of the different variations that I've been using. It's just a little bit more of a pain in the ass to lug it around and film it, since I do tend to keep a pretty quick pace through all of the accessory work. I try to get everything done in under an hour and a half. So usually there's less time for futzing around with a camera or something on the accessories, but I will do a better job of that, since that's where I think a lot of the creative things that we come up with end up happening is in that accessory work. So that brings us to the dynamic lower day. This is the 3rd and final week of the safety bar box squats. This week with 280, I did 10 doubles. All of these felt pretty good. Didn't have any major pain or shifting or anything, and was able to keep a very neutral hip position through all of these squats, so they all felt really good and balanced between both legs. The sumo pulls actually felt pretty decent as well. On this day I figured out that if I bring my stance out actually a little bit wider, I'm now about 1.5 to maybe 2 inches outside of the power rings as I'm setting up. For some reason, even though it seems like that should require more flexibility, it actually makes the whole lift a lot more comfortable. I think it's because the wider stance makes it so I don't have to get my hips as low, and then it kind of changes some of that flexibility requirement for me and helps get my lanky ass arms and legs out of the way. So wider stance, way more comfortable, a lot less pain on the hips, and a lot cleaner looking of a pull overall. Did 10 sets of between 1 and 2 reps with anywhere from 265 up to 295 with the bands, and then I took a couple of pulls with just straight weight afterwards, a few with 315, and then took one at 365, and those all felt pretty good. So close out that day with some good mornings up to 330. Superset those with hanging leg lifts for 5 total sets of 5, and then wrapped up with 3 rounds on the kind of gooch stance leg press and a hamstring, and then I believe an oblique exercise. So that's about it. I will have another one of these up hopefully pretty soon to catch up the other week that is still missing, and then we will see how things are going forward. So that is it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and as always, be sure to check out the gym's website at savagegym.com, and check out Deadlifts for Dornbecker at deadliftsfordornbecker.com as well. That is it, and I will talk to you next week. Take care.